Well, hello, my name is Jim Royal. I'm a huge Beatles and Elvis Presley fan and basically classic rock in general. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. If you could do a thumbs up, that's always most appreciated. And feel free to leave comments. I always enjoy reading them and I do my best to try to respond in a timely manner. Today I wanted to do kind of a list video, something fun that I think everybody can participate in. Memorial Day here in the United States just passed yesterday. And I thought sometimes they do these lists, like they have themes on, Sirius Radio, the Beatles channel. They do a top 10 or best love songs and stuff. What I thought I would do is songs that sound like Beatles songs, but they were done by the solo Beatles. So solo Beatles songs that sound like they could have easily fit on a Beatles record, or because these are after the Beatles in some cases, in most cases, if you think that it could be on, like, could you picture it on a future Beatle album? Okay, so I'm going to go from John Lennon, Paul, George, and Ringo. Now, this isn't going to be every single song that I think. This gives you just an idea, but, feel free to leave comments and tell me what you're thinking. So let's start with John. So his Plastic Ono Band album from 1970, I think that even though it was a very sparse production, I'm going to go with the song Remember. I think that song easily could have been on a Beatle album. I also like Working Class Hero, though he's going to have to get rid of the F word on there. Now keep in mind, I'm picking that because of the fact that, the White Album, he did do Julia, which was a solo act from him, a solo acoustic song. Another nice one that I would choose is Look at Me, again another acoustic one. What else do we have on here? Oh, and then the song Love. I think that could have been done really nice. So that's from that album. Now we're going to go to 1971's Imagine. And what are we going to do with this? We're going to go with, of course, Imagine the title cut, Peace and Love. All the Beatles are for that. I'm also going with Crippled Inside. I'm kind of debating about Jealous Guy. I know that the song was called Child of Nature, but I'm just not... I can't imagine John singing the lyrics part, a Jealous Guy in a Beatles song. So I think I'll pass on that, but hey, what do you think? I'm also going to go with Give Me Some Truth. That was a song that he was actually working on during the Get Back sessions. Oh My Love, you got another Beatle on there, and that's a nice love ballad, acoustic song. Now, just because another Beatle is on some of these albums these songs doesn't necessarily mean that I would say, oh yeah, definitely it's got to be on there. But to me, I see Beatles all over it. Okay, here's a controversial one. How Do You Sleep? All right, it sounds like a Beatles song. Okay, I know he's attacking Paul in it, but to me, it sounds like a Beatles song. When you close your eyes when you're doing this, just picture. Hey, can you picture maybe on some of these songs John, Paul, George, and Ringo together? Okay, so that's also what I did. I don't really see anything off Sometime in New York City, the 1972 album from John. From Mind Games, I'm going to go with the title cut Mind Games, though I think that's kind of a little more updated. That's kind of an iffy one, whether it could be on a Beatles album, in my opinion. And then also the song You Are Here. I think that's excellent. Okay. What about Walls and Bridges? What would I put on there? I would put Steel and Glass. I think that's an excellent song, and it sounds like a Beatle type song to me. Okay, I wouldn't put anything on Rock and Roll just because it's an oldies album. It's not no originals or anything like that. And now we're going to go to Double Fantasy. And with Double Fantasy, I'm going with Watching the Wheels. I knew that was a John Lennon song when I was a kid, but I'm just like, that sounds so much like the Beatles. So to me, that's what that is. So can you think of any more John Lennon songs? Please feel free in the comments. These are John Lennon songs that are solo John Lennon songs that sound like they could have been on a Beatles album. All right, let's go with Paul McCartney. We're going with McCartney, the first one. I'm going to shoot, probably one of the biggest Beatles sounding songs ever from a solo Beatle is Maybe I'm Amazed. Okay, I can imagine that easily going on the next record after Abbey Road, easily. Teddy Boy, they tried it, but I could see that on there. What else? Every Night, oh wow, look at that one, right? Definitely that one. And then I would say That Would Be Something. All right, and then Ram, Paul McCartney and Linda, this was 71. I would go with Dear Boy. I think that's definitely one in my opinion. Heart of the Country, nice kind of song that would fit very good with, you know, Paul's music from the Beatles. And I would also go with The Backseat of My Car. I think it's excellent. He wrote it, or started writing it during the Get Back sessions, but the biggest one here, Uncle Albert, Admiral Halsey. It turned out years later that George Martin did have some production or orchestration with that song. None of us knew until years later, but I remember as a boy in the car hearing that song, thinking, hey, that sounds like the Beatles. Or that's the Beatles, and they said, no, it's Paul. Okay? All right, so now what do we have? Now we have Wings Wildlife. This is from 71. It's kind of a lo-fi production, and what I would say probably the only one that I think remotely could be on it is Dear Friend, the nice piano song. I like that one a lot. All right, so now we've got Red Rose Speedway. This is Wings again. I would say My Love, easily. What else would there? Win the Night, I could see that easily fitting on maybe the White Album possibly. What else? There's another one on here. Single Pigeon, definitely that one I think. I'm kind of debating on Get on the Right Thing. I think that just sounds like it's kind of too newer, the sound. I don't know necessarily if the Beatles, you know, if that sounds like that could have been the Beatles, but what do you think? All right, now we've got Band on the Run, one of my favorite ones. I would definitely go with the title cut, Band on the Run. I don't think Jet, though, even though I love it, I just think it doesn't sound like the Beatles to me. Then you've got Bluebird, definitely. Let Me Roll It, for sure. And I think that would be it off that. Then we're going to go to Venus and Mars. Venus and Mars, what would I say on there? I would definitely say Call Me Back Again. I could easily see that one being on there. I think that's just, you know, Beatles all the way. Okay, now we're going to go with Wings at the Speed of Sound. And this was from 76. Let 'Em In, definitely. Nice piano ballad. I remember as a boy, that's another one that I would hear on the radio when it came out, and I thought, I got confused. Is that the Beatles? Or I didn't know. You know, I thought it was a Beatles song. Another song on here that I think would be maybe Warm and Beautiful. You know, some of these other songs to me, they just don't sound like they could be on a Beatle album. And again, as we get farther and farther away from the Beatles, you know, they have different sounds and they continue to evolve like all artists do. All right, then we've got London Town. On this one, I would definitely say I'm Carrying. I think that's a nice song. Supposedly that was about Jane Asher. I don't know how true that is, but that's a nice guitar ballad about her, supposedly. And that would be about all that I would say off that album. I didn't really see too much on Back to the Egg, so I'm going to pass that one. But McCartney 2, I can easily see one of those days. I can easily see that being something that the Beatles would have done in the vein of Yesterday, that kind of acoustic guitar song. All right, now we're going to Tug of War. I think you all know what I'm going to pick on this one. One of my favorite solo albums, period, of all the Beatles. I'm going to go with, I don't know, I think it's too, I think Take It Away is just kind of sounds too new, you know, but I'm going to go with On Here Today, the Yesterday sounding song that's a tribute to John. Okay. I'm going to pass Pipes of Peace. I'm not really sure about that. There might be something on there, but again, it's sounding a little more modern, you know, it just, as we get farther and farther away. Give My Regards to Broad Street is all, you know, redoing Beatles songs, so I'm not picking anything off there. Press to Play, I don't know, maybe Only Love Remains, but I just think that's like a good solo Beatle, I'm sorry, a solo Paul McCartney song, so I can't necessarily say that. All right, but I'm going to go with Flaming Pie. I'm going to go with the song Put It There. I think that one is, in fact, George Martin had some production involvement in there. So that sounds kind of like a Yesterday type song. All right, now we're going to jump a little bit. We're going to Flaming Pie. And on Flaming Pie, I'm going to go with Some Days. Yeah, Some Days. Excellent. Yeah, really, I could see that being on a Beatle album. I know a lot of these other songs sound very similar to Beatles, but they're just, they're a little more modern, so that's why I'm passing them. All right, so let's go to George Harrison. George Harrison, All Things Must Pass. Now, a lot of these songs were songs that, some of them anyway, were rejected by the other Beatles, so he ended up having so much. He had a triple album, double album of new material, and then a jam on the third. So this was from 1970. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going with My Sweet Lord. Okay, I know it's a religious overtone song, but I got to tell you, I know that the other Beatles would love this song. This would have been, it was a huge hit. I think it probably would have been bigger, though I know it was huge with George doing it. But My Sweet Lord, definitely. I could see all the Beatles doing that. Some of the things with George, though, he does get a little religious on some of the other albums, so some of that I can kind of see not happening. What else is on here? I think What Is Life? I think that would be another good one. If Not For You, I know Bob Dylan wrote that song, but, Behind That Locked Door. Let It Down, definitely. Let It Down was one that was from Get Back. Beware of Darkness, Apple Scruffs. I love that. All Things Must Pass, of course. I Dig Love. The Art of Dying, I know that that was rejected. And of course, Isn't It a Pity? I'm not sure about which version, but I think Isn't It a Pity stands out too. From 1971, from his concert for Bangladesh, actually this was a single, I'm going to go with Bangladesh. I could see the Beatles doing that. Beatles, all of them would have been on a cause. I mean, you had two of the Beatles there at the concert. I could clearly see the Beatles doing that one. And then, what do we have here? We've got Living the Material World from 73. I'm kind of debating Gimme Love, Gimme Peace on Earth. I think that could. I think that could be on there. It's just sounding a little more updated by this point, so that's why I have reservations about it, but I'll go with that. Sue Me Sue You Blues, of course. Great tune. I think, let's see, Don't Let Me Wait Too Long, that's another one that I could see on there. There's some other songs that I just think that might not really fit, with that theme. Okay, and then Dark Horse. I'm not really seeing too much on there, some good stuff on there, but not really. So let's go. Now we're going to jump to Cloud 9. I just think some of the stuff in the 70s and early 80s, I just think that while it was really good, I think, it was kind of more smoother music. It evolved. He had jazz musicians with him in some cases, like Tom Scott, so I didn't see that. And even though this one is, some of it, this is produced by Jeff Lynne from ELO, it has that Jeff Lynne production, which is different than the Beatle production, let's be honest. But if I was to pick some off of here, I would definitely do When We Was Fab. I would also do That's What It Takes. When We Was Fab is obviously a complete tribute to, the Beatles in that time. So that's what I would do with him. Now let's go to Ringo, okay? So Ringo, we've got Blackbird on here, which I would go with. I think that even though it's a cover tune off Sentimental Journey from 1970, I would go from that. Then from his third album, Ringo, I'm going to go with I Am the Greatest, the John Lennon song. The three of the Beatles are on there. Photograph is kind of questionable because it just sounds like it's really updated, but I'm going to go with Photograph. I'm also going to go with Step Lightly, which sounds like it solo Ringo that easily could have fit on the White Album. I could see that. And then, of course, 6 O'Clock, right? The Paul McCartney pen tune. Of course, the 1971 single from Ringo called It Don't Come Easy. And I'm kind of questioning Back Off Boogaloo, maybe. I could possibly see that, but that was like totally different. Well, let's go with that too. And then off of Goodnight Vienna, I'm going to go with Goodnight Vienna, the title cut. And I think that's pretty much it. So Can you think of anything else on any of the Beatles that sound, the solo Beatles that sound like the Beatles? You close your eyes and you're like, hey, wait, I could have sworn that was the Beatles. What, really? It's the solo Beatles? So thank you very much for watching my video. You take care, and please leave comments about if you thought I missed something, or maybe if I, mentioned a song and you said no way. All right? All right, take care. Thank you. Bye.